On the last night of the It's Not Me, It's You critically unacclaimed tour, please welcome a man celebrating his 39th birthday, the wonderful Jon Richardson!
Well, touring's over now. There's been a lot of sandwiches in the Ford Fiesta. I get recognised more, but you never, in your own head, if you have any sanity, you don't. The thing you must never do is think you're recognisable because you're good. I'm aware that I'm lucky at the moment, but I'm not recognisable enough that people sort of see me and go, "Hey, that's Jon Richardson from 8 out of 10 Cats." I tend to, if I'm walking that way, they'll recognise me, but it's after they've passed me that they realise who I am. So I just get the starey, like I've got crap on my face, and then it's only after their backs to me that they go, "Ah, it was that comedian. Probably should have smiled instead of just looking at him like that." So I just wander around town cleaning myself. I'm gonna get scabs all down here. I read a forum the other day speculating on whether I was gay. But anything I read about myself, I think I deserve, because I read that I was as funny as an anal tumour. Someone messaged me to say they got to page 45 of my book and were bored to tears. Somebody messaged me yesterday to say, "Just seen that I'm wearing the same shirt as Jon Richardson, be right back, I'm going to burn it." So generally, I get, for every one of those there's 100 nice messages, but the ones I remember are the ones that, because I agree with people who hate me more. If people like me, I just think, why? But if people hate me, I think, God, you're right, I am a dick, and I do look shit in that shirt. Last night in Potter's Bar, I got given a nightlight, which, it's really when you find out what your audience think of you, when they say, "Here's a gift, Jon, because we imagine you piss the bed at night." I got given a nightlight, a dog that barks when you walk past it, and some sweets. I tend to get the sort of gifts that you might give to a child, which is my own fault. I've become professionally pathetic on stage. I just spend an hour begging to be looked after. So people buy me wet wipes and hand gels. Sort of things your mum would bring you. If you were at uni and your mum came for a day, imagine that stuff, and that's what I get given. Yeah, I get annoyed by the permanence of reviews. I think, especially for comedy, it's such a live event, and I don't see why you would go to a live event and then publicise what you thought of it for eternity. If you put it online, it's going to be there forever, and I'm very aware I'm going to be a 70-year-old man telling my friends' grandkids, I was going to say my grandkids, but telling my friends' grandkids that I used to be a comedian, and they'll still be able to find shitty reviews of a night when my dog had died and I had to go and do a gig, and some arsehole went, "Oh, it wasn't very funny." So, the permanence of the internet annoys me in terms of reviews. Oh, my 24th birthday, yeah, we went past it today. I pointed it out to Matt, the Yeovil Podimore Services Travelodge. Alan Carr got the room to sing happy birthday to me, and I went and drank a bottle of Martini Asti on my own and had a pot noodle, which was amazing. But yes, last week I was on tour in Yeovil, and I stayed in a nice hotel with a girl. We had sex. So things are going pretty well for me. It's been a good 5 years. This evening, Matt introduced me by saying that today was my 39th birthday, which I thought was clearly a joke until the gig ended with 2 girls wishing me a happy birthday. Did you not hear that? No, 2 girls genuinely thought that it was my birthday and that I was 39, which hurts. Chubby Brown I laughed at before I knew what I was laughing at. Chubby Brown was... There's a scene in Big Lebowski where he's lying on his back on the carpet and just listening to a tape of pins getting knocked over. And that's what Chubby Brown was. I didn't understand, didn't know what a vagina was, didn't know what a tampon was, but I just knew he talked in a certain rhythm and there was a big laugh at the end, and it became like a music album. I just liked drifting into it. So I'm not proud of the fact the first comic I loved was Roy Chubby Brown, but I would stress I didn't understand the jokes. Oh God, wow, you've done your research of hideous things that have happened to me. That was the first... It was a valuable lesson because I sometimes look at comedians now that I don't really like what they do, and I'm very aware that there was a point at which my career nearly went very differently, where the first telly you get offered, you think, I'm going to be on telly within 2 weeks of my first gig. So I got offered a reality TV show called The Sack Race, where I think ultimately you got put in a work placement and you had to get fired as close to 3 o'clock. But for my audition, I just had to go around London humiliating perfectly good people who've done nothing wrong. And I had to get someone to tell me where the Millennium Stadium was, even though it was in Cardiff, and he walked me to the Citizen's Advice. It was a horrible day, and a man went to photocopy a page of a book because I told him I was going to rip the page out otherwise, and I ran away while he was in the basement doing a good deed for a stranger, and I'll never forgive myself for it. I would say every comedian has the routine that when they're not doing very well, their brain tells them to do. And I have an incredibly filthy routine about masturbation that I wrote maybe in the first month of being a stand-up, and to this day, 8 years on, if I forget where I'm going, my brain says, do that old masturbation material, that was really good. Oh, what a terrible routine.
Thanks so much for that. That's
Pleasure.
brilliant. Cheers.
Thank you.
Now we're off camera, could we hear it?
You implicitly when you say we're off camera. It was about when you... And then the punchline was... blah 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 blah. It's just fucking horrific. Never used to get a laugh, it used to get a...